Welcome to another week of Up Front with Frank Rothstein. If you can believe it, we're still doing this. It's incredible. And if you're noticing that picture behind me, I'll explain what in a little while. By the way, today is show number 293. Just so you know, we're coming up on the big 300. If anybody wants to send me a celebration gift, I will appreciate it. Sitting with me as always, she's appearing all over New Jersey in her own one-girl band. She's all over the place. She's still the star of stage and screen. Everyone say hello to Jade Zabrik. Jade will be typing in a comment every now and again in here, probably to tell me to shut up, but she'll say hello to you too. Feel free, we're live on Twitch for those of you who are not paying attention, because we're also sharing to Facebook on both Up Front with Frank Rothstein's Facebook page, that's me, and the Skies Crescent Radio Facebook page. Okay, let's see. Yeah, it has been a big week, let me tell you. I mean, if you're watching politics, I'll get into it in a little bit. It has been a Republican trifecta week. Yeah, it has been different. Okay, before we get into all that, which we will, not the way you think, we will. We tighten this microphone because for some reason, if you never touch it, anybody uses a microphone, like people who need a guitar, they seem to need to keep adjusting this. Even though it was perfect when I took it off last, it needs to be adjusted. I don't know why that is. Anyway, okay, in the here and now today, strictly for today, letting everyone know that hundreds and hundreds of airline flights have been canceled across the United States. Close to, well, it says now more than 700 flights were scrapped. This is because of lack of personnel, and the ones that exist are exhausted. All right, they cannot keep sending pilots up to fly you anywhere if they're making 2 and 3 flights a day, especially if they're long flights, especially if it's not perfect weather. It does take a strain on you. You don't want to think about when you're driving for a few hours and your eyes can get a little loopy and your legs can start tightening up. So there is a lot of cancellations on airlines. Check your local listing, so to say, and see if you are able to get out, if you have any plans being with the potential of being screwed. Also, if you're doing any traveling on July 4th, I'm telling you now, flights are being canceled in advance. For the first time, airlines are being a little considerate. I had a friend went to the airport to board, even though the couple called in to confirm that morning. By the time they got there, done. So please be aware, be up to date, and all that. Okay. What else we got? Yes, I know I do have to. Oh, speaking of the airlines, American Airlines is they're going to stop flying to 4 airports. Not that this may affect you in New York City, but if you this came out, we'll cease on September 7th at the Dubuque Regional Airport in Iowa, Long Island MacArthur Airport, Ithaca Tompkins International Airport, those are in New York, and the Eugene F. Kranz Toledo Express Airport in Ohio. I had to say that in one breath. That's why singers are really good at taking breaths when you never know they're doing it. Yeah, I don't know if any of these affect you. Just letting you know. Start checking. So anyway, as I was saying, I wasn't sure if I was going to break this into 2 shows this week, squeeze it into one, make it a short show, do an anger thing when I start talking to everybody, which I really don't want to talk to everybody angry. But we all know what's going on in the news right now. I'm normally on this show, I try not to do front page news. I really, when you have to, you have to. Of course, during COVID, everybody with a microphone was talking about COVID. Everybody was talking about something. You know that. Here are certain events that require it. So we all know what's been going on with this, with the Supreme Court over the last few days. Of course, the decision over women's abortion rights. They made their decision on the New York State gun laws, concealed weapon laws, and the Miranda Act, Miranda laws. I'm not, each are important in their own way, of course, and of course, women's abortion rights will take the top spot, and for good reason. It really doesn't matter how I feel about it one way or the other, or how you feel about it one way or the other. What does matter is denying anybody health care in any way, shape, or form, and telling somebody what they can do with their body. That does matter. That really does. I mean, I've had this discussion on this subject before, and the way I discuss it is nobody will ever know what I think about it. It's no one's business what I think, and no one cares what I think. That's on the particular subject. What I do talk about at great length is people having the position I always take is people should have health care. People should have any kind of health care they need. Now, in relation to the topic at hand, well, okay, this will especially affect people in what's the so-called red states. That's the states run by what is known as the Republican Party. They're known as red. The blue states are the people with the Democratic Party. Okay, fine, whatever. Color's a color, right? More water. I'm not going to talk about, I'm going to talk about it this way. Everyone here who knows me, who's listened to me in the past, knows that I come, which is going to seem seemingly unrelated to anything that's going on. I come, my basic trade way back when, even to an extent now, came from the adult film industry. We all know that. I don't walk around with a sign over my head or on my back saying it, but I do not, I talk about what I have something to. Why is this important? Well, today it's not. But I have a lot of experience dealing with the Republican Party, dealing with the government when they come, dealing with how the Republican Party operates when they want to get something done. And again, it's not that I'm a Republican or Democrat. Actually, when I go into the polls, just so everyone knows, I go as independent, really. I go case by case, wherever the breeze blows me, whatever my opinion may be at the moment. But experience tells me how the government works when they want to get it done. And what they do is what you're seeing now. They stack the deck. Matter of fact, the day after this decision, not even a day, that night, in one of his many tweets, not even a tweet, whatever his Truth Social, whatever it is, former President Donald Trump was taking credit for this decision on abortion rights in the Supreme Court because he put 3 judges in. Whoever knew that this former game show host who did better work as a guest on a talk show had such an important presidency? Because when it comes to Supreme Courts, that's like random. It's a lifelong appointment. There is no guarantee that any particular president is going to have to nominate one. I mean, now you have a relatively younger group than you used to. So, it may be that Joe Biden, or if he's still president next term, or the next president may not have to nominate a judge. But for now, we have the group that we have. This was a stacked deck going in because so many of the judges that went for the nomination swore that they would never touch Roe versus Wade. You hear it every time they go through these hearings on committee on C-SPAN or CNN, and they ask the question, what do you think of Roe versus Wade? They all swear, oh, no, I won't. And sure enough, they got the vote. And this is what happens. But it won't end there. Now, you see this board behind me? That is the game of backgammon. See those dice? Well, I'm deciding which way I have to move. You see those dice? Okay. Backgammon is not like chess. Chess is a brilliant game. Be really good at it. You have to know all your strategies and your defenses, and you have to be able to read the board through the end. You know 7, 10 moves in advance if it's going to be 7 or 10 moves. Sometimes it's over in 5. Backgammon, there's a lot of strategies to it, but eventually it comes down to, see those dice? Until they hit the board, you don't know where the battleground is going to be. You don't know what the next move is going to be because you don't know what your next roll of dice, what your number is going to be. And it is essentially a game of here to there. Like where those 2 red tiles are on the bottom, they have to go all the way around and get to the top. But okay, same with the white tiles. What's going on now with the government is not like chess. Their end game is basically to get the presidency. They want to get the government back. This is unknown battlegrounds because we see what's going on now. But believe me, what happened on Friday is not the end of it. Experience tells me that this is not the end of it. I lived through this. Different subject, completely different subject. But I know the operation. I've seen the operation in action. And if when people say, well, it'll take years to change things, they're right, because it takes years to deal with the government one way or another. I'm sorry, I had an itch in my shoulder. The government, never runs out of money. We printed it will. The government will stack the deck any way they have to. I don't care if it's Republican or Democrat. If you're against the policy and they want to push it through, they'll still push it through. And one thing about the Republican Party, and I really swore I never wanted to become political out here. I never did. Not like this. Is the Republican Party likes to tell you how to live. They will want to tell you how to live. You can see how that's going right now. That's just what you're watching. They will hide behind God every chance they get. They'll tell you that they're God-fearing. It's a Christian country. This is God's will and the rule of God. And it's in the Bible, and it's always hiding behind God. Maybe God will strike me dead with a lightning bolt in 30 seconds, but I can tell you that every now and again, God has made a mistake. If you get into the Bible and you see where Cain killed Abel, excuse me, I'm banging into something here. If you could see where Cain killed Abel, then you know it's in the Bible that somewhere something put something in someone's mind and invented killing. That's a flaw. If the government will hide behind that, and we're a Christian country. Well, I'm not Christian. I have nothing against Christians. I have nothing against any religion. I go with as long as is, whatever gets you through your day, whatever makes you happy, as long as you're not hurting anyone else or affecting anyone else's life. Believe what you want, worship and pray the way you want. Go to a church, go to a synagogue, go to a mosque, go sit in front of a tree, face the water somewhere. If there's any truth to God being everywhere, God will hear you no matter where you go. But I wouldn't hide behind it to get people to do what I want. And that is what the Republican Party does. And that's what's going on now. And that is, believe it or not, when people say, well, this is not who we are, it's like, well, yeah, it is. It may not have been how we formed the country. Because when people first came here, it was to get away to practice religious freedom. But somehow, the practice came along. Matter of fact, just to let you know the current story today, and I'm not done with this story yet. Where'd I put it? Governor Kristi Noem in South Dakota, red state, Republican state, will prosecute abortion docs and restrict access to pills. Okay. Governor Kristi Noem. So she's taking it upon herself to take advantage of it, and she's going to sign into law a way to prosecute docs. All right. Now we all know what I'm saying over here. What I feel is going to happen is there is another move to be made. If there was not more to come, then since Donald Trump represented the Republican Party and he stacked the judges, the Republican Party is seemingly won for the moment. Well, if they seemingly won and that's the end of it, then why are they going to work today? But they're still going to work because there's more to be done. My personal feeling is, from experience, they're going to want people's medical records. Because what would stop anyone from denying any woman, any kind of health care, if they can do an exam and there's a determination that she had an abortion? Because you know what's going to happen. Someone's going to need it somewhere. Yes, Republicans, I'm talking to you, whether it's your daughters, your granddaughters, your nieces, your cousins, maybe it's your brother's wife, whoever it is, someone you care about may just need it, want it, require it for one reason or another, and it won't be available. So they will find the spot. Matter of fact, people are already planning. I already know people are planning that what state, what area can you go to? It's a plan. I mean, not everybody's looking to get pregnant right away, but people will be looking for the escape. Where can I go to get this done? And if it's not done properly, if it's not like it used to be somewhere way back when in some odd end clinic, in some who knows where, maybe the conditions aren't as clean as they could be. Maybe whoever's performing the procedure isn't all that good at it. But if a woman goes to a hospital with a problem and the doctors could examine and see what's going on, what would stop anyone from denying medical treatment if that's in effect? And I have a feeling the laws will change and it will be in effect. Why do I think that? Because a few years ago, we were talking about it, just before COVID, we were still in the studio, and I was talking out here about how states wanted to deny medical care to trans teenagers, trans patients, which, again, insane. Somebody breaks a leg, they need help. But that's just what like I say, I know what I'm saying sounds like I'm rambling. I know it may not make sense to everybody. Who is that? Shanita's out here. Hey, how are you? No, it's okay. You keep on listening. I'm talking about all the stuff going on. What was the message? What was the message deleted? Hello. I'm looking at the live stream on my Twitch, and I see a friend of mine was here, and something got deleted. Anyway, experience tells me that they're going to want all your information, that there's going to be a registry. People will have to register, that the government's coming, not just for this subject, for any old information. They're going to want to get rid of doctor-patient confidentiality to an extent. They're going to want your information. I'm sorry to break it to you people. I'm sorry, all of you. I'm sorry. No, that's okay. You can send all the smiley faces you want. Shanita has status. What was I saying? They're going to want all your records. They're going to want this. They're going to want that. This will take years and years to battle this. And as I was saying, for all of you who think you did well by following Donald Trump, by putting on a cute little hat with his Make America Great Again, his MAGA hat, like every other candidate, you got a little slogan, a little saying, Make America Great Again. Sounds catchy, but it's really just a bumper sticker. That's all it is. If you fell for this, if you think that any of them are out for you, that you're being protected because you support the Republican Party, I promise you, you are in trouble. You have been fooled. You have been duped into falling. The big lie is not that he still believes that he won the presidency. The big lie is what you're doing to yourself in believing that this guy and their party is for you. Basically, I always said to the average person on a daily basis, daily grind, that elections are basically Republicans with tax breaks and Democrats give you health care. But we're beyond that. This right now, this is beyond that. If you think that if you get a couple of more dollars in your paycheck, somebody is looking out for you, think again. Because people who need abortions, people who need health care, people who are trans, people who are anything else under the sun, they're not just Democrats. I know that's been the whole thing for the last few years, but no, that is not the case. Just because you think you're as a Democrat, if you're a liberal, it does not mean you are evil. It does not mean that everybody who is a Republican, who calls themselves conservative, is a superhero. Trust me, they're not wearing a cape. They have no theme song. This is not a superhero. There are no superpowers. It's just not the case. And I'm telling you, with the events I described, that how the government can work, they will come with their overly broad subpoenas. They will now probably petition in some way, shape, or form down the road for more. They want more. And eventually their game is to get the presidency. So that way, for at least 4 more years, they can set up a bunch of laws which really will not help you. And then, even if the next president down the road, 6 years from now, down the road, becomes Democrat again, you'll still be screwed. You will still be screwed. You have sacrificed, a lot of people have sacrificed a lot to get a few more dollars in their paycheck, which isn't really helping you because the inflation is so bad. And no, it's not all the current president's fault. Sorry to say, no, it's not. But I'm not even here to talk about that. Basically, I'm trying to tell you that your biggest thing you can do, you can take all the protest marches you want, but the law is signed into effect. You can do anything you want to do, and that's fine. Be heard. Take press, do your own podcast, walk around all day, spread your word, but in the end, you have to vote. You have to go and vote. Because the midterm elections come up, the real midterms come up very shortly, in a few months, and you really have to get in there and vote. That is the only way in this type of a deal where it helps you. Sitting home, streaming, playing games, getting lost in virtual reality, nice, kills a few hours, but it's not helping you. It really is not helping you. You have to get out and vote, because that is the only way you have any kind of a say in what's going on. Now, true, some states are a given. They're red, they're blue. Some states are just a given. We all know no matter who we vote for in New York, it's probably going to wind up Democratic, blue. Same in California. Midwest, trust me, if you think what's going on now is helping you, think again. And you're not believing me now. And why am I talking like there's a whole big crowd of people here? Because this is going to go on to Facebook in a little while. This is being streamed live on, it's going to go on live. It's going to go to YouTube in a little while. It's streaming live on Facebook now. And anyone in my industry that I grew up working with, that I knew in my adult life, everyone knows what I'm talking about. We all know what's coming. It's just a disaster out there. It really is. You can laugh about a lot of things. I laugh about a lot of things when it comes to this country. And yes, it is still one of the greatest countries around for a lot of good reasons. Maybe not at the moment, may not seem that way, but it is still a great country. Certainly, I got to believe we're better than Russia, because this morning, they launched a bomb into a mall somewhere, to some shopping center where there were 1,000 people and there were a ton of injuries. I don't know how many exactly at the moment, but they launched a missile into a shopping center. It's always into some place that's not military. But yeah, different parts of the world got their own problems. I know that, but the world is watching us. So much so that, where did I put this one? Where did I put this one over here? Israel. Whether you like Israel or not, they have loosened up their abortion regulations in response to Roe versus Wade. It says Israel on Monday eased its regulations on abortion access in what the country's health minister said was a response to last week's sad United States Supreme Court ruling. The new rules approved by a parliamentary committee grant women access to abortion pills through the country's universal health care system, which of course America does not have a universal health care system, and remove the longstanding requirement that women appear physically before a special committee. Well, I never understood that, but okay, that's gone. So, like Israel or not, they made a quick adjustment. Maybe maybe it's good for business. Maybe they actually give a crap. But either way, Israel has made an adjustment, a big adjustment. So anyway, that to me is big news. That is also good news. And yes, I am rambling and going in different directions when I talk. I have a habit of doing that. But I'm telling you, no matter what I say here, see this game here? This is the game. Because the battleground can start over one shoulder or another, over one of my shoulders or another. They're called quadrants. You cut the board across, up and down, you got 4 quadrants. And you never know where the battle is going to be with the tiles because different rolls of the dice give you different things. So if you're thinking for a moment that it's over and that there's no hope, think again. It may take a while, but eventually, in this case, I don't know, I had to be corny about it, but right will win out. It'll just take a while. And by the way, I'm sitting here also, I'm always on Facebook. That's where I know a lot of people. I want people to understand something. Just because someone gets pregnant, a woman gets pregnant, it's don't penalize all guys as being lowlifes and disasters. Not all guys. I was watching CNN yesterday. One woman, I forgot her name, look it up, was suggesting that all men be required to put up a $350,000 bond before having sex with a woman. So, yes, men have responsibility. Yes. Men are not to blame for every last situation in the world. I mean, yes, men do a lot of bad things. Yes, that is true. Yes. Yes. But in the places where there's actually 2 people who want to be there at the same time, she gets pregnant. Maybe they can't carry it. Maybe she's unable to carry the baby. Maybe it's not the right time. Maybe this and that. Just remember that there were 2 people there in the same place. Just be careful. Get birth control. Buy a condom. See what. Just be careful. We can't just be kids anymore like that. It's time to think a little more. Grow. It's time for a lot of people to have to grow up, guys and girls each. It's true. It's not a game. It never was a game, but it's not really a game right now. But again, I know it's tough to say be patient, but patience will help. It will help you out in the long run because this game is not over. Because those dice are going to come up in a minute. Those dice are going to roll again, and you are going to get another roll of the dice, and you are going to make your move. It's going to happen. The game will turn around. My favorite fortune cookie that I've ever received, that I still keep in my wallet, that I probably opened up after dinner, close to 20 years ago. It's still in great shape. It has 2 words on it. Don't panic. So generally, don't panic. Unfortunately, for the women who are pregnant, and I can understand. What I am concerned about is I'm taking a lot of time on this subject because it covers a lot of ground. It is vast. I am concerned about Suicides. You've heard me talk about suicides out here before. You can get kids, you can get 19-year-olds, you can get people panicky very fast when they're scared and they're out of ideas. And I'm worried about that because when people run out of ideas, suddenly they don't know what to do. I'm also concerned about guys not reacting well and panicking and what they might do to the mother involved. But yes, suicides I do worry about. But generally speaking, as a whole, sounds crazy, I know, but be patient. Don't panic because it ain't over yet. And that is where I'll leave it. It ain't over yet. Okay. Where else are we over here? What else are we talking about here? Okay, let's see. I need that. I'm looking. Yeah, and one thing is what's important to people. This is, this is really, this was actually a 2019 article that I found that I keep thinking about Frankenstein. So here we are with our government that has a problem with people who seemingly feel that they're not ready to bring in a life into the world. And yet in 2019, Yale scientists restored the cellular function of 32 dead pig brains. I have never heard if the government went against this, and I never read about it. I don't see the FDA or any other organization in the federal government stopping people from messing with life or death. Certainly now we have robots or nanites or whatever you want to call them that are able to reproduce. That comes out of Star Trek, by the way. I'm looking at an article from 2019 where they took dead pigs and they brought back some brain function. Not that they're thinking, not that they're aware, but they got some things to kick in. Then, of course, a few weeks ago, I was reading about how scientists were able to activate eyes. Again, not to restore eye function, not that they were able to see anything, so they weren't hooked up to anything, but they got response out of the eyes, the removed eyes from people who died. That's Frankenstein. That's just what it is. It's Frankenstein. So they'll get a hand from one person, the head from another person, and before you know it, ego will be bringing in a brain. So yeah, it's I guess the government has priorities. I see Shanita's still hanging with me. Oh, thank you. How am I doing out here today? Do I sound like a babbling idiot? Am I doing anything decent? Well, we're not exactly doomed. She's typing into the, if you're not seeing it on any other stream, which I should be, my friend Shanita is typing in that we're doomed. Talking yet, taking heads in jars. Well, if you remember the movie Young Frankenstein, Igor went to the lab, got the brain, dropped it. It was like in a big pickle jar, dropped it, and grabbed the next brain, which said abnormal. Goes back to Dr. Frankenstein, who was played by the late Gene Wilder. And he says there was a reaction to the creation, to the monster, I guess, that he wasn't expecting. He says, "Where did you get this brain from?" He says, "Well, I took it." He says, "Whose brain was he?" He goes, "Oh, Abby someone." He says, "Abby someone?" Abby goes, "Abby normal." He says, "Abby says, you got me an abnormal brain?" He starts choking Igor, who called himself Igor. But that's what it sounds like. We're building. We're going to start building. I don't even know if the planet could support life if no one's alive, if you keep on retreading, rehashing life, when there are people to take its place. Yes, there are people to take its place. But okay. Well, yeah, watch Young Frankenstein. You ever see it? It's a great movie. It really is. Okay, so we know that Israel has changed their thing. What is this? Oh, by the way, How do we fuck with people? I don't know. I don't even know if this spreads to market or if we actually ingest this. I'm reading this from Insider. This came out from June 24th, this just a few days ago. And the headline is, a farm feeding chickens with marijuana instead of antibiotics is fetching higher prices from consumers seeking organic poultry. You got that? That's the headline. That's happening in northern Thailand. So the chickens are eating pot. I don't know what happens when it gets to market. You have it for a meal if you get a little loopy, but that's what's going on in Thailand. Yeah. So again, be careful out there, people. It's both stupid and dangerous out there. Also, before we, I'm not going to make this a very long show today. There's no reason for it. We know what's going on in the world. I could dig up a few other dumb stories. Oh, by the way, a couple of other things, just so you know, more of a daily grind in your life. For you mustard lovers out there, there should be a national shortage coming up because mustard seeds the crops. There's a shortage. So check your shelves. Get a few extra bottles, store up for this fall, maybe the winter, and see if you can stock up on mustard. That can become the new toilet paper. Okay, Amazon's Alexa could soon mimic voices of dead relatives to give technology a more human attribution. Yes, they want to make Alexa sound more human. So they are going to, you can get a human to talk into it, record a message, or just like I think I'm reading a 60-second, hi, how are you, whatever, get your voice in there. And all of a sudden, Alexa's using your voice. You know where that comes from? Star Trek. That is Star Trek. Of course, they used a human voice for the computer. You know who it was? She played Nurse Chapel in the original series. She played Lwaxana Troi in The Next Generation and Deep Space Nine. That was actress Majel Barrett, who is the wife of the Star Trek creator Gene Roddenberry. They used her voice as for all the recordings of what the computer might say. And as they needed new lines, she would record it. But that voice in Star Trek on the computer is Majel Barrett until they needed a more, for different places, more technical. But generally speaking, that's who it was. Majel Barrett. Majel or Majel? So yes, this is, most technology comes from Star Trek. But as I keep reminding you, the only one that I know of that comes from another place is your Apple Watch, your iPhone watch. That comes from Dick Tracy. The old comic strip, the old comic book detective, Dick Tracy. That's where your iWatch, your smartwatch comes from. All right. All right. So we know what's going on in the world. Oh, by the way, once again, this is more of an important topic to me, even though every now and again, this is from 2020, but it keeps on happening. The keto diet keeps on getting slammed every now and again. The keto diet, you know, the no carb, all protein, eat whatever the hell you want thing, but no carb diet, that was a rebranding and a little extension of what was originally Atkins diet. We're not years ago, about 30, how many years ago? Over 30 years ago, when I was in North Carolina for weight, went down there to lose weight. They had a program called the Atkins diet, and that's what this was. Protein. Of course, you're not eating all kinds of stuff. Reasonable meals, protein, but this was geared for people who were not really not in shape for needed surgery. They just couldn't tolerate it. So you had to lose weight real fast. And this was what was given to people that we used to call members of the Nickel Club. They were 500 or more pounds. They weren't weighed on a house scale like you know it. They on a meat scale. They had a big, big platform scale where that could support them. And that's what this diet was for people who needed now to get the weight off very fast. And when you're that kind of big, you could lose 60 pounds in a month very easy, if not more. Water starts coming out. Your body's going through the whole big thing, the whole adjustment. And it's very easy to get 50, 60 pounds, 2 months, 80 pounds more off of a person very fast if you do this the right way, as long as you keep up with fooling the body to an extent. Because once the body catches on, it's called a plateau. But that's what the keto diet basically is. I'm looking at it. Well, egg whites, cheese, bacon, the fooling thing that the yellow of the egg is unhealthy for you, which is not true. And people are eating, but keto is geared for more people, I guess, of a healthier weight. You don't need, you can live off of, you don't require, a couple of egg white sandwiches you can do, but it's not really that kind of crazy healthy, because after a while, if you don't have a plan for athletes, you can gain weight very fast. How do I know this? Well, I wasn't exactly on keto, but I did. I lost a decent amount of weight, up to like upwards 40 pounds. And since May, I sort of, discovered normal food. I really haven't gained a lot, just a few pounds, but I could see where I'm going to get into trouble, because, yes, I did find bread a little bit here and there. And I did find out a few other foods. So again, I'm not going to panic. Just going to keep up with myself. I'm just going to keep up. That's the thing here today. Don't panic. We're coming up on the end of the show. Let me see. Let me check my Twitch feed. I'm reading some of the comments here. Yes, well, Shanita's going to be running to the stores and getting mustard. I may send you some mustard. Some people feel, but okay. All right, so basically we covered a lot of ground today. I may have sounded like a half a nut at times, but your thoughts and how you treat your body is your business. I'm wrapping up here. It's your business. If you get a cavity in your mouth and you want to sit there and suffer in the pain, it's your business. I can tell you to go to a dentist, but it's your business. Your vision is starting to fail. Need glasses. You don't want to go and get them. You don't want to go for an exam. Your business. I don't care. No one can force you to do it. Yeah. Your business, your right to, and I mean everybody, your right to get health care under any circumstance. The government shouldn't be telling you this. And they shouldn't be pushing their religion on you. They shouldn't be pushing their beliefs of what God would want it. God would want it. I don't know what God wants. When I see babies dying near birth, when I see infants going, when I see lowlifes living to a ripe old age, I'm not always sure what God wants. Remember, Charles Manson lived to be a little over 80. Just letting you know. Don't be fooled by what people are telling you. Don't be fooled by what you're following. Don't be fooled by Donald Trump, the Republican Party, or any little green alien that pops out of the sky and says, "Come with me." Don't be fooled. Pay attention. Keep your eye on the ball. And remember, those dice have not dropped yet. You have one more roll to go, and you never know. You're going to make the next move. It will probably be a good one. Hopefully, it's a good one. And that's all I know for today. If you would like to comment on anything we have to say, feel free to write to me at Upfront with Frank Rothstein, or excuse me, upfrontfrank@gmail.com. Upfrontfrank@gmail.com. If you'd like to write into the station, try this yourself or comment directly to the station. It's skiescrescentradio@gmail.com. We like .coms. We like Gmail. It's easy. It doesn't cost you anything. You get the letter just as fast. And that is the story. Shanita, I'll probably call you on Wednesday. Yeah, that's the story. Don't panic, people. We'll be talking about it next week. Until then, have a good night. I will see you next time. And don't panic. Bye.